Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has made his way to the front lines to direct the war against advancing Tigrayan rebels. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister said that it was the time to lead the country with sacrifice. While Abiy is away, Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister will take charge of the government affairs. The visuals on your screen are from April 2018. They are from Abiy Ahmed's swearing-in ceremony. In his speech, the then new Prime Minister struck a conciliatory tone. These were optimistic days of Abiy's premiership. He promised a new future for Ethiopia. He promised peace, prosperity and reconciliation. 3 years and a Nobel Peace Prize later, Abiy Ahmed is heading to the battlefield. From being the darling of the international community, Abiy Ahmed has become a global pariah, dragging his country into a civil war. As the country rebels now close in on capital, the 45-year-old's image as a modern peacemaker lies in tatters. Not just Abiy Ahmed, hundreds of others are joining the army. They want to fight the rebels and protect their capital. At the heart of this brewing civil war is a battle for influence. Tigray accounts for just 5% of Ethiopia's population, but thanks to a well-trained army and a strong economy, it has always enjoyed disproportionate power in government. That changed when Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018. Major Tigrayan officials were either fired or sidelined. It was part of his crackdown on corruption. In response, the Tigray government declared Prime Minister Abiy as illegitimate. The war erupted a year ago in the northern region of Tigray. Thousands of civilians have been killed, millions have been displaced, and at least 400,000 people in Tigray forced into famine. The situation right now is precarious. Tigrayan forces have recaptured most of Tigray. They have pushed south and east into neighboring regions, threatening the capital and a transport corridor as well. So the Prime Minister was forced to head to the front lines. But can he save his government? New videos have emerged that show several Western diplomats meeting with leaders of Tigray People's Liberation Front. The video allegedly showed them discussing plans to overthrow Abiy Ahmed and plan a transitional government. This was a 2-hour-long video obtained by an investigative journalist. Ethiopia has even accused the United States of spreading false information about security conditions. It warned that such statements could harm ties. Washington once viewed Ethiopia as a vital security partner, especially in the volatile Horn of Africa. But with the new protests and videos emerging, their relationship risks hitting new lows. This as the rebels threaten to march on the capital, Addis Ababa.
War is the epitome of failure for all involved. That's what Abiy Ahmed said when he received the Nobel Peace Prize. The year was 2019. 2 years on, the Ethiopian Prime Minister has failed to live up to his words. Today he joined the battlefield. Abiy Ahmed himself is leading his army to war, and these are the men that Abiy Ahmed is fighting. These are rebel soldiers. They're ready to clash with the forces of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This is happening in Ethiopia, not Africa's biggest country, neither the most populous one, but home now to what is building up to be the world's worst conflict. And it's not just a military conflict anymore. This has become a battle to dictate the future of Ethiopia. Global powers have entered the picture. They're talking, discussing plans, picking sides and making bets on who they think will come out on top. Ethiopia started with a civil war. It ended up in the middle of a geopolitical battle, a battle between the West and the East. On Gravitas tonight, we will tell you how. And we'll begin with the latest from the battlefield. Fighting has not broken out yet, but Ethiopia is dangerously close to the brink. Rebel forces are knocking on the doors of Addis Ababa, the capital of the country. Who are these rebel forces? The Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, Tigray People's Liberation Front. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been fighting these rebels for almost a year now. TPLF controls the Tigray region. It dominated the politics of Ethiopia for decades. Then Abiy Ahmed rose to power and the tussle for power began. The Tigrayan forces opposed the policies of Ahmed. In turn, Ahmed tried to wipe them out. Not just from the politics of Ethiopia, he made moves to crush them completely, first by cutting their funding, the funding to their leadership, then with a military assault. Of course, they resisted, and that's how the conflict began. Tigrayan rebels pushed back Ethiopian troops, and for the longest time, this fighting continued in the Tigray region. Now it has reached Addis Ababa. The Tigrayans want to take the capital. A clash is imminent. Abiy Ahmed has decided he will lead the troops himself. Reports say he has left the Prime Minister's office and gone to the front lines. Ahmed's deputy, Demeke Mekonnen Hassan, will run the country, while Abiy Ahmed will focus on winning the war, he says. Some other senior government officials have also joined the Prime Minister in the battlefield. Our correspondent on the ground, Koleta Wanjohi, sent us this report from Addis Ababa.
The Prime Minister said he went to the war front on Tuesday. We're yet to at least get some information from him or from his office about the progress he's making in the war front where he said he is. We're yet to get that. But on the other side, we've seen him motivating other people. And that's why you're seeing people like Haile Gebrselassie. We also had another famous athlete, Faisal Elisa, as well as other citizens saying that they will take up arms, or they will take up arms in different forms, because contributing to the war is not just about taking up the gun, but you can also take up arms financially by supporting maybe the military, by supporting giving morale here and there. So yes, this kind of contribution is coming in, and we've seen even the city administration saying that it has already got some citizens whom it said as of yesterday are ready to go to the war front, you know.
The stakes are high for the Nobel Peace Laureate. When Abiy Ahmed began this fight, he promised a swift and decisive end. 1 year has gone by. Forget about defeating the rebels. Ahmed is struggling to protect the capital. His government has now asked locals to join the fight with whatever weapons they have at home. And a few thousand citizens have indeed volunteered. Look at this. These are the locals of Addis Ababa. They decided to fight the rebels with orange vests and sticks. Their courage is commendable. But Abiy Ahmed will not win this war with sticks. The odds clearly are against him. The only saving grace is that he still enjoys some public support. Prominent names are willing to back the Prime Minister on the battlefield. Names like Haile Gebrselassie. He won 2 Olympic gold medals for Ethiopia in running. He is now joining the Ethiopian army to fight the Tigrayan rebels.
A sportsman is always an ambassador for peace. Now, when I'm saying I'm going to the front line, people could say, what? Wait a minute. They could say you have been a mediator and you're a sportsman. Sport is about peace and love. No. What would you do when the existence of a country is at stake? You just put down everything. Alas, nothing will bind you. I'm sorry.
With words like these, Abiy Ahmed is bound to get more public support and sympathy, and that's how he's been able to keep this war going for a year. Unfortunately for him, though, he no longer enjoys the same popularity abroad. The West could be hatching a plot to bring him down. An investigative journalist has made this claim. He managed to access details about a secret meeting of Western diplomats. These are serving and former diplomats of the United States, the United Kingdom and the European Union, and they have long-standing connections to Ethiopia. They were meeting a representative from the TPLF, the Tigrayan rebels. Now, we have not been able to verify any of these claims independently, but some video statements of these diplomats have come out, and one of them hoped that the TPLF, that's the rebels, get quote-unquote military success very soon. I have a quote here from the alleged discussion, and this is an exchange between a former American diplomat and an official from the TPLF. This is what he says. Abiy is not listening. He is not listening at all right now. And how are you going to reach him? A person who's really in a corner, an African Union envoy, has not been extraordinarily helpful or very active. And so, are there any other opportunities that you see? Here's another quote, and this is from a French diplomat. This is what he says. Even if Abiy sticks to his guns, which unfortunately he seems to be doing, You either hope that people around him, either in the government or in the military, realize that this is going nowhere and might force him to, well, accept the cessation of hostilities or force him to step down. Now, these diplomats could just be making an honest assessment of the situation right now, but they clearly are no fans of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And that does not mean that he's isolated. The Ethiopian PM is getting help from the rivals of the West, countries like China and Iran. Ethiopia has bought weapons from them. What kind of weapons, you ask? Multiple rocket launcher systems, missiles, drones, radars. The Chinese and the Iranians are providing Abiy Ahmed with advanced weapons. And Ahmed will not hesitate to use them, because this is a fight that he began with the rebels for more political power. And this is a fight that he wants to win at any cost. He's already been accused of war crimes, abuse and genocide. He is an international pariah today, a Nobel Peace Laureate and an international pariah. The rebels are no different. Their fighters have raped and beaten women during the war. They too are guilty of war crimes. There is no good side in this war, unfortunately. And our world powers are taking sides. Their entry means the violence will only intensify, and that spells disaster for the people of Ethiopia. It's a country where 400,000 people are already facing famine-like conditions. When the fighting resumes, this will only get worse. Ethiopia is Africa's second most populous country, with an average GDP growth of over 10% for over 2 decades. Among the highest in the world. Also one of the very few countries in Africa that were never colonized. Ethiopia was once seen as a stabilizing force in the strategic Horn of Africa. Today, it is the center of a geopolitical battle. Well,
for more, let's cross to Ethiopia's capital. Gideon Timotheos is Minister of Justice of Ethiopia. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
My pleasure.
Tell us what the Prime Minister is doing, where he is, what his role is.
The Prime Minister is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, in addition to being the head of government. So he's discharging his constitutional responsibility and duty by leading the armed forces in the counteroffensive against the terrorist TPLF.
Where is he exactly today?
Obviously, you can't expect me to pinpoint the exact location of the Prime Minister. As we have stated earlier, he's in the front lines. He's providing leadership and guidance to the armed forces.
There has been unease among some saying why they haven't heard from the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister has issued a statement the day before yesterday. I think, while being on the front line, he's focused on his duties, on the task ahead of him. So that's what he's doing.
What can you tell us about the latest fighting, where it is and how it's going?
I can tell you that, since the TPLF has escalated and expanded the conflict, affecting millions of civilians, displacing close to 2 million in Afar and Amara regional state, the government has been left with no option but to launch a counteroffensive in several fronts. So this is a very dynamic situation. And since I'm not a military, I don't have expertise in this area, I would refrain from providing further details.
We saw where you are in the capital, recruitment drive. We just saw images from that in the report we showed that's been underway. Can you tell us about that?
The situation in Addis is very calm. People are going on with their daily business, with their daily routine. Obviously, the population is mobilized in support of the national armed force, supporting our troops. So they're providing all sorts of materials and moral support for the troops. The TPLF, as has been noted in your earlier report, has been in power previously. It is an unpopular force. It's using terrorist means right now to brutalize and terrorize civilian population in other parts of the country. So the residents of this city are supporting the government, and that's what's going on the ground.
The state of emergency now in effect, as it is under effect, those that have been arrested, including high-profile people in the capital, are they going to face charges? What is their status today?
The state of emergency provides for preventive detention measures to provide for the security of not only the city but the entire state. So their matter would be reviewed under the procedure set in the state of emergency proclamation.
So they can be held for indefinitely?
Not indefinitely. The state of emergency has been declared for a specified period of time. So if their case is not referred to the courts, then they would be released.
And that includes local UN staff?
Regardless of their employment and affiliation, everyone will be treated equally before the law.
Gideon Timotheos, we had a statement on Tuesday by the U.S. envoy, Jeffrey Feltman. He was alarmed by military developments, but he also talked about, quote, nascent progress in mediation. Is there mediation going on?
The Ethiopian government, the federal government, has expressed its desire to resolve the situation peacefully way back before this issue became an international news item. Before the conflict broke out, there have been several efforts by civil society leaders, religious leaders, to bring the TPLF and the federal government to talks. The TPLF rejected all these efforts to provide a peaceful resolution of the tensions. Now that the conflict has escalated, now that the TPLF has expanded the conflict to the Afar and Amhara regional state, the Ethiopian people and government are exercising their right to defend themselves, to defend their democratic and constitutional order.
Does that mean that the government is open or not open right now to mediation?
For us to be open for mediation, the course of action that the TPLF has embarked upon has to be reversed. The international community has to condemn this kind of behavior, these terrorist tactics, the attack on civilians, and the aggression in the Amhara and Afar regional states. If there is a change in this course of action, if the TPLF renounces violence, then we could explore all options.
So for now, not yet, is what I'm hearing from what you're saying. Let me ask you, who would be best placed to mediate between the two warring sides?
As we have noted earlier, the Ethiopian government is engaging in a constructive manner with the High Representative of the African Union, His Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo. So that engagement will continue.
One final question for you. The departure we saw in that report of French nationals, not just the French, we're having lots of Western citizens right now leaving Ethiopia, fearing an assault on the capital. What's your reaction when you see those images?
I mean, there has been a great deal of alarmist and exaggerated, frankly, hysterical reporting from some foreign media outlets. We don't think that's justified and warranted. As I have noted earlier, people are going on with their daily businesses. Shops, banks, schools, offices are all open. So we think that it's a bit exaggerated and unjustified.
I want to thank you so much, Gideon Timotheos, Minister of Justice of Ethiopia, for speaking with us on France 24.
My pleasure.